Ladies and gentlemen, today we face a truth not many are willing to admit. The road to mediocrity is wide and well-traveled, but it doesn't lead anywhere worth going. Average is safe, comfortable, and accepted, but it has a cost, and that cost is your potential. Most people don't make it not because they're not smart enough, talented enough, or capable enough. They don't make it because they settle. They buy into the lie that "I'm good enough" is good enough. They trade excellence for convenience, long-term reward for short-term comfort. Success, real success, demands a price. It demands discipline when others drift. It asks for late nights when the world is watching television. It calls for self-education when others are scrolling through noise. You see, average people make decisions based on the moment. They choose what feels good now. But the ones who rise, they choose based on who they want to become. The average path says, "I'll do it tomorrow." But champions know tomorrow is built today. The average mind avoids responsibility. It blames, complains, and explains. But the uncommon person takes ownership. They ask, "What can I do about it?" That's the difference. Now, let's get real. Average is not harmless. Average thinking leads to average actions, which lead to average results, which eventually lead to regret. Not the kind you feel for a day, but the kind you carry for a lifetime. The kind that says, "I could have, I should have, but I didn't." You don't rise above average by accident. You rise by decision, by strategy, by repetition, while most wait for the right time, the right feeling, the right motivation. Those who make it move anyway. They act, they show up, they stretch, and they keep promises to themselves. Most people don't make it because average is easy. But what's easy in the short term becomes hard in the long term. And what's hard now, discipline, effort, focus, makes life easier down the road. So if you want to rise, let this truth settle deep. You must pay the price of growth, and you must pay it daily. Because the price of average is too high. It costs your dreams, your peace, your legacy. You were never designed for average. You were born with purpose, with fire, with a seed of greatness. Don't let the culture of comfort talk you out of the climb. There's more in you. So rise above the noise, the doubt, the laziness. Pay the price and live in the reward. Average is easy, but easy leads to regret. That's a truth most people only discover when it's too late. You see, average never asks much of you. It never stretches you. It never calls you higher. Average is the wide gate, the smooth path. It doesn't demand late nights, early mornings, or deep sacrifice. That's why it appeals to so many. But here's the catch. Average doesn't tell you about the bill it sends later. Because while it's easy in the moment, it has a cost that comes due over time. And when it arrives, it comes in the form of regret. Not just for what you did, but for what you never dared to do. You hear it in the quiet moments when the crowd is gone and the noise settles. The inner voice starts to whisper, "He could have done more. I could have been more." That's not a small ache. That's the weight of unlived potential. And it doesn't come from failing. It comes from not even trying. See, the easy road teaches you to get by, not get ahead. It says, just do enough to keep the lights on. But it never teaches you how to light up your life. It's the path of playing safe, sticking with the crowd, doing what's expected, and never what's possible. You don't have to do anything remarkable to be average. Just drift. Just coast. Just follow the trends, the moods, the opinions. Just do what everyone else does. But if you want something different, something more, you have to choose it. And choice requires effort, intentionality, sacrifice. Regret is the result of decisions not made, steps not taken, opportunities ignored. And the irony, it doesn't hurt at first. It comes slowly. It builds in silence. You don't feel the pain of an average decision immediately, but time has a way of showing you what it cost. A person doesn't regret the hard work they did to chase a dream. They regret the excuses they made to avoid starting. They don't regret waking up early to build a life. They regret sleeping in on their purpose. The pain of effort is temporary, but the pain of regret echoes. That's why it's crucial to ask yourself daily, am I choosing easy or am I choosing growth? Easy never builds character. Easy never strengthens resolve. Easy never sharpens skill. Easy just keeps you busy doing things that don't matter in the long run. And when you finally pause and look around, you realize you've spent years moving but not progressing. You'll hear people say, "I just want a simple life." That's fine, but simple doesn't mean passive. It doesn't mean unintentional. There's a difference between peace and apathy. Peace is earned through growth. Apathy comes from refusing to rise. And when you settle for ease, you sign up for apathy, and with it, a slow-burning regret. The path to meaning, fulfillment, and legacy is often inconvenient. It demands things of you that the average never will: discipline, vision, faith, repetition. But it also gives what average never can: confidence, clarity, satisfaction, and the quiet joy of knowing you gave life your all. So make the tough choices now while you still have the time and strength. Say no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's worthwhile. Push yourself when no one's watching. Build your inner life before chasing outer results. That's the road few travel, but the one that leads somewhere worth going. Because in the end, it's not the difficulty of the path that matters. It's the destination. An average leads to one place: regret. But the hard road, the road of effort, sacrifice, and growth, that one leads to meaning. Don't trade years of purpose for moments of ease. Don't settle. Don't sleepwalk through your potential. Wake up, step up, and pay the price of excellence now so you never have to pay the price of regret later. Success is never convenient. That's the simple truth people often overlook. They hope it will show up at the right time, when life is calm, when energy is high, when the schedule is open. But it doesn't work like that. Success doesn't arrive when it's comfortable. It arrives when you're willing to be uncomfortable. Convenience is a mindset that waits for the stars to align. It's the voice that says, "I'll start when I feel ready," or I'll try once the timing's right. But the problem is, life rarely offers perfect timing. There's always a reason to delay, to wait, to push the dream to another season. But while you wait for the right moment, time keeps moving, and so do the people who didn't wait. If you study the lives of successful people, those who built something meaningful, you'll notice a pattern. They started when it was hard. They moved forward when others paused. They made decisions in pressure, not luxury. They understood that waiting for ease was just a dressed-up form of procrastination. The journey to success requires sacrifice. It demands that you show up when you're tired, commit when you're unsure, and continue when you feel like quitting. It forces you to put in the hours while others are relaxing. That's not convenient. It's costly. But that's why so few do it. Think about a seed in the ground. It doesn't wait for the perfect day to grow. It breaks through the dirt, in the dark, without applause, without comfort. It grows because it must. In the same way, the seeds of your potential won't grow under perfect conditions. They grow when you commit, despite the conditions. Too many people live on the edge of their calling, waiting for life to get easier before they start moving. But success isn't a guest that knocks politely. It's a mountain that must be climbed. And the climb doesn't care if you're busy. It doesn't adjust to your preferences. It just waits for you to rise. Convenience will always offer shortcuts, ways to look like you're growing without actually changing. It will offer distractions dressed as productivity. It will whisper, "Take it easy, there's time." But those who make it understand, success respects effort, not excuses. You don't stumble into a strong body. You train. You don't fall into financial freedom. You plan, you save, you sacrifice. You don't drift into purpose. You fight your way there. And in each case, it won't be easy or convenient, but it will be died worth it. People want results without the rhythm. They want the fruit without planting the seeds. But there's a law to this. If you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. And that usually means stepping into the inconvenient. It means saying no when everyone else says yes. It means waking up before the alarm because your dream matters more than your sleep. It means working on yourself when no one is watching. That's the quiet price of success. Daily decisions made when you don't feel like it. And here's the secret. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you build something inside. Call it resilience, call it grit, call it self-respect. But that's the real reward. What you may should come while chasing the goal. The goal matters, yes, but who you become along the way, that's the real success. So don't wait for convenience. It's not coming. The moment is now. The conditions won't be perfect, but you don't need perfect. You need to begin. You need to commit. You need to be willing to go against the grain of comfort because growth doesn't live there. Remember, convenience gives you moments of comfort, but commitment gives you a life of meaning. And meaning is never found on the easy road. It's found in the stretch, in the challenge, in the rise. So go ahead, take the step. Do it tired, do it unsure, do it afraid, but do it. Because success is never convenient and it's never accidental. It's earned, one uncomfortable decision at a time. Most people react, achievers anticipate. That one sentence separates the average from the extraordinary. It defines why some stay stuck in cycles while others seem to rise no matter the situation. It's not about intelligence, luck, or even talent. It's about how you approach life. Do you wait for things to happen, or do you prepare for them before they do? Most people live in reaction mode. They wake up late, rush through the day, and put out fires as they come. Their energy is spent reacting to problems, emails, moods, and opinions. They don't plan their day. The day controls them. And because they don't anticipate, they always feel behind. When you live in reaction, you're constantly at the mercy of outside forces. Your circumstances become your boss. You let traffic ruin your mood. You let a comment break your focus. You let fear delay your action. The pattern is simple. Life acts and you respond. But here's the danger. When you only respond, you never lead. Achievers live differently. They anticipate. They think ahead. They understand that leadership over your time, your goals, your mind comes from preparation. They don't wait for the storm to hit to build a shelter. They build before the clouds appear. To anticipate means you take control. You decide the direction of your day instead of drifting with it. You schedule your priorities. You study trends before they become problems. You invest in skills before you're desperate for them. You don't wait for opportunity. You create conditions that attract it. That's the key difference. Reaction is passive, anticipation is active. One lets life dictate terms. The other writes the terms and lives by them. Most people say, let's see what happens. Achievers ask, what needs to happen and how can I make it so? They wake up with intention, not just motivation. Motivation is fleeting, but intention drives consistency. And consistency, day in and day out, is what separates winners from wishers. Think about it like this. A farmer doesn't wait for the harvest to prepare. He sows, he waters, he watches the seasons, he anticipates, he knows that what he does today affects what he receives months from now. Success in any area works the same way. Whether it's health, relationships, finances, or purpose, if you wait until it's urgent, you've already lost ground. Reaction is emotional. Anticipation is strategic. The person who reacts says, this is unfair. Why did this happen? The one who anticipates says, what can I do now to avoid this outcome? And if it still comes, how do I rise through it? And here's the beauty. Anticipation is a skill. It's not reserved for a few. Anyone can develop it. It starts with a shift in mindset. From what's happening to me to what can I do about it? You begin to ask better questions. You start planning your week before Monday arrives. You prepare your mind before stress knocks. You decide your values before pressure tests them. You stop reacting to the market, the weather, the news, the mood of others, and you start living by principles. You become proactive, not reactive. And when that shift happens, your life starts to reflect order, not chaos. Vision, not confusion. Purpose, not panic. The person who anticipates leads their own life. They're not immune to difficulty, but they're not blindsided by it either. They expect resistance and prepare for it. They expect delays and plan around them. They expect detours, but stay committed to the destination, so the choice is yours. You can keep living in response mode, always a step behind, always waiting for things to calm down. Or you can step into the mindset of achievers, those who think ahead, act early, and walk prepared. It's not always easier, but it's always better. Remember, most people react. That's common. But you weren't made to be common. Anticipate, prepare, lead. Because the future doesn't belong to the frantic. It belongs to the focused. The future is built in quiet, disciplined moments. Not in the spotlight, not on the stage, not in the applause, but in the unseen hours, the early mornings, the late nights, the routine repetitions that don't make headlines but build character. The truth is, what you do when no one is watching determines what you become when everyone is. Most people want a better future. They talk about goals, dream about breakthroughs, and wait for the big moment. But they overlook where the real work happens, in the daily grind, in the small, repeated decisions that seem unimportant in the moment but shape everything that comes after. The future doesn't come all at once. It's not a thunderclap or a sudden leap. It's slow, it's steady. It's formed in ordinary hours when you choose discipline over comfort, focus over distraction, and persistence over excuses. The mistake people make is thinking big things come from big events, but big things come from small things done consistently. A strong body is built one workout at a time. A sharp mind is built one page at a time. A fortune is built one wise decision at a time. None of these are glamorous, none are easy, but they matter. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And discipline doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel good at first. It's quiet. It shows up when you don't feel like it. It whispers, keep going. When everything inside you says, take a break. Look at the people who seem to suddenly succeed. It wasn't sudden at all. Behind that overnight success were years of uncelebrated moments, practicing, refining, showing up, doing the work no one else wanted to do. They built their future in silence. The world rewards outcomes, but life is built on process. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, and those systems are built one choice at a time. Each morning you get up early, even when it's cold. Each time you open the book instead of the app. Each moment you stay committed when it would be easier to walk away. That's construction. That's bricklaying. That's building the future. The disciplined person understands something the average person misses. Momentum doesn't come from motivation. It comes from habit. If you wait to feel inspired every time, you'll live in cycles of inconsistency. But if you decide, this is who I am, and this is what I do, then the feeling becomes irrelevant. You just do the work. There's a power in repetition. It rewires your thinking. It builds identity. It strengthens resolve. It teaches you to trust yourself. And over time, you become someone who doesn't just wish for a better future. You become someone who builds it. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. It's lonely to choose discipline when others choose ease. It's lonely to work when others are resting. It's lonely to focus when others are distracted. But that loneliness is a seed. It grows into confidence, freedom, and influence. Because what you sow in private, you will reap in public. The world may not notice your quiet efforts today, but the results will speak louder than words tomorrow. People will ask how you did it. They'll wonder what your secret is. And you'll know it wasn't a secret. It was a series of small, disciplined moments stacked on top of each other day after day. So don't despise the quiet season. Embrace it. That's where greatness grows. That's where foundations are laid. That's where the real you is forged. Not the version you show to others, but the one who stands firm when no one's clapping. The future is shaped not by chance, but by choices. And the best choices are often the hardest ones, the ones that require sacrifice, focus, and delayed gratification. But they are worth it. Build your future in silence. Stack the wins, keep the promise to yourself, because long after the noise fades, what you built in discipline will remain. And that's a life you'll never regret. Excuses are the language of average. Every time a person makes an excuse, they're placing a ceiling on their own growth. They're saying, this is as far as I'm willing to go. Not because they've reached their true limit, but because they've decided to settle. Excuses don't reveal the truth. They reveal the decision to stay comfortable. You'll hear excuses every day, and most people don't even realize they're making them. So I don't have time. It's just not the right season. Son, I'm too tired. Sonny, I wasn't born with that gift. Sin, if I had the resources, I'd do more. These sound like explanations, but they're not. They're just polished versions of an I'm not willing. Excuses come wrapped in logic, but they're fueled by fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of effort without a guarantee. So instead of stepping forward, people step aside. They defend their inaction with stories that make them feel better about staying the same. But here's the truth. No one rises while clinging to excuses. You can have growth or you can have excuses. You cannot have both. Every excuse is a brick in the wall that separates you from your potential. Tear them down or you'll be stuck staring at what could have been for the rest of your life. Excuses are sneaky. They feel harmless at first. One skipped workout, one missed opportunity, one day procrastinated, but they build. One excuse becomes two, two become 10, and soon you've trained your mind to find reasons not to act instead of reasons to enact. Excuses are how average people justify average results. They use them to explain why they didn't try, why they quit early, why they never started. But those who rise, those who build, lead, and inspire, they replace excuses with responsibility. Responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you stop waiting for ideal conditions. It means you stop blaming the economy, the timing, your parents, your boss, your childhood. It means you start asking, what can it just do? Instead of saying, it's just how things are. That shift from excuses to ownership is the turning point in any life, because once you accept that you are responsible for your direction, you stop hoping and start building. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop speaking the language of average and start living the life of the uncommon. The people who achieve don't have fewer obstacles. They just choose a different response. They don't make excuses, they make adjustments. They don't dwell on what's missing, they maximize what they have. And because of that, doors open, momentum builds. Progress is made. You might not control every circumstance, but you control your attitude, your effort, and your choices. That's more than enough. Most people never tap into that power because excuses are easier than effort. But the easy road never leads to greatness. Ask yourself, what excuses have I been telling myself? Be honest, shine a light on them. Are you saying you don't have time, or are you just not prioritizing what matters? Are you saying you're too tired, or are you wasting your energy on things that don't serve your future? The mind is clever. It will always look for the path of least resistance. But growth is found in resistance. It's found in the moments where you want to justify quitting but choose to keep going anyway. That's where strength is built. Excuses might protect your pride temporarily, but they'll rob you of fulfillment permanently. They keep you safe and small, but you weren't made for small. You weren't designed to blend in, to coast, to watch life pass you by while you explain to yourself why it didn't work out. Drop the excuses, replace them with action. Start small if you must, but start. Show yourself that you're capable of following through. Build the habit of doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. That's the habit of champions. Because at the end of the day, no one will care how good your excuses sounded. They'll only see what you did or didn't do, and you'll feel that too. So speak the language of responsibility, the language of action, the language of purpose. Excuses are for the average, but you don't have to be average. You just have to decide